Plug it in and light it up. Quit telling me what to do.
Today is Inauguration Day. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show. That's enough. No, before we do this,
Dude, I got no headphones.
hey, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you today?
I'm
I
just
got to turn my mic on, and then things work better. Look at that.
I'm just
We're good today.
combobulated. I'm like out of my comfort
Yeah,
zone. Not where I want to be. I'm just not, but I'm great. Just want to complain a little bit.
Let's do this. People are going to think the camera's reversed.
Today's weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. It is 55 degrees and cloudy in Victoria, heading to a high today of 72 under cloudy skies. It's going to be basically like it was yesterday, just not quite as, it's not as cool right now. So same as it ever was, just another dreary, a fitting day for Texans as we inaugurate and usher in the Joe Biden era of governance, the embarrassing era of Joe Biden governance. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't care if our leftist listeners like it or not. If you're excited about where this country's going to go, like I'm so thrilled. Now, finally, the economy can. Oh, well, wait a minute. No, the economy. Finally, unemployment across all. Every race prospered under Donald. Well, finally, somebody going all the way back to Bill Clinton is going to move that embassy to Israel. Oh, wait. Trump already did that. Well, that NAFTA deal is going to get finally reorganized. No, Trump did that. Our NATO partners are through sucking off of us. Now, finally, somebody's going to stand up to NATO and say, you're going to pay your fair share, Merkel, you fat German hog. Oh, wait, no, Trump already did that.
Marvin Mick is checking in. Bobby Leister, good morning. Points out it is called a Wednesday.
48 years in D.C. If you're excited about the return of the swamp, well, then Mr. Joe Pete Moss Biden is your guy.
Judge Posey, the Iceman, is in. Let's see who else is in this.
Good morning, Judge. I don't think I saw the judge yesterday. I know I did not give the judge a personal shout out, which is my forte.
Scott Tonko, Karen Webb, Johnny Houghton.
Johnny Houghton. Well, we fired our guns, but the British kept it coming.
Scott Snow,
What did that say about-
Tonko.
Yeah, you know what? That would be a great sponsor. And I don't even know if that's what the Iceman's trying to say. It would be great if we had a sponsor, haters of Wade and Carter, people that don't like our content, people that don't think we speak for the masses, but people who support the forum. Now, that's a great idea. You could get together 10 of your friends, put in a couple of bucks, and we could say, brought to you by this segment, brought to you by haters of Wade and Carter. I even like that. We could give that money to charity every month, like to Trish over at Christ Kitchen. We could give that money away. The haters of Wade and Carter. I like that.
Scott Tomko says this will be the Joe Biden error.
I saw somebody yesterday who in the past might have been a proponent of the haters of Wade and Carter.
Oh, yeah?
But now, after having been on the show, after having listened to the show, now seems to get it and does not hate Wade and Carter. That would be one Emmett Alvarez. I told him that. I don't think so. I think Emmett gets it.
Jeremy Pena checking in. BJ Nelson.
So y'all want some skinny? You want some skinny on something? I didn't tell you I was bringing content.
Michelle Hawkins. Let's get through this. Patrick Strauss. Good morning, Richard King.
There's so many. Good morning, Rena Shear.
My daughter Tyler.
Tyler.
My beautiful wife Cheryl is in.
Your beautiful wife Sharp.
Yeah. David Glass, Bob Watley,
Hi, Shark.
Erica Allen, good morning.
It's Erica Mueller or Miller Allen. Is she Canadian? I think it's
I don't
Miller. And if it is, it's 3 names. That makes me very nervous.
And Tippett, good morning. Judge Posey says he was back and forth between us and YouTube with the problems we had yesterday. 70
Thank you,
Conti,
sir.
good morning. Lisa Poole, Chris Conrad back in. He had a meeting yesterday.
What a difference a day makes. We're back now. We're live. You'll notice we're on opposite sides. We're still trying to move around. There's pieces of Ash said it's as if we're living through a kitchen
It
remodel.
very much reminded me of that. We went through one when I was in high school, and that was just 10 days, 2 weeks of living in dust and mess and crappy food.
You want some inside skinny?
So, yeah.
So inside skinny. This is hot off the press. This won't be in the Advocate till like next month. VISD going to run out of bond at you in May for $156 million. Do you already know this?
I'd heard rumors and an inkling.
$156 million, $74 million of which is designed to basically tear down and rebuild Stroman into a middle school. They're going to do a bunch of work at Howell and help me out. Mission Valley.
Okay.
Not positive. Maybe not Mission Valley. Big money.
I haven't seen the
money.
details, so I don't. I'm
gonna
going
cost
with
the,
you there, so
on a $100,000
don't look for me
house.
to bail you out on this one.
Do your own math on a $100,000 house. It's about $29 a month extra. You know, that's the way I looked at it back then. I really did. When the first bond came out under Bob Jacklich, I was like, $1 a day, baby. But we're getting a new stadium. We're getting this. We're getting that. I'm all for it. $1 a day for the rest of my life. Okay. I have put out a request. I have no doubt it'll be granted to visit with Dr. Quentin Shepard and like a deputy who would be Dr. Craig Bonewald, 2 fine individuals that I look forward to visiting with to understand exactly what we're going to do. But I think it's going to be a tough sell. I think it's going to be a tough sell in uncertain COVID times. We're only talking about 4 months from now.
Yeah.
You've got an uncertain COVID economy. You've got the uncertainty, but the certainty that Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. And oh, by the way, we want another $30 a month out of your family on your $100,000 house. If you live in a $250,000 house, it's $70 a month.
Hasn't there been money in these COVID relief packages for education at all levels?
I've learned a long time ago, you got the INS, you got the M&O, you can't mingle the funds. It's, I don't look at that pile of money over there. We've got to get another pile of money over here. You can't do what you're thinking of doing.
Bobby Leister points out the obvious. VISD's timing for bonds has never been good.
And Bobby, maybe I'm just a naysayer. Maybe there's never a good time to raise my taxes, even though I'm a huge fan of the public school. Maybe there's just never a good time to raise taxes. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I wish they'd have flooded this bond out there in the middle of Eagle Ford. You know, and we could have gone and gotten some. I think that if VISD could start really throwing out some just badass education results, the valedictorian this year got a free ride to Harvard and the salutatorian's going to Duke. If we could do that, then all of a sudden I think people would want to look at that as an investment. Right now, I think they look at it as a burden. I'm not saying I'm tainted. Ash and I were both on board for the last bond. I'm just tainted by where I see Victorians to be. I don't think Victoria is going to say, well, this time it makes sense. Are we crowded up in our schools? I mean, we closed Gross and other schools. We closed Wood High. Now we need to totally rebuild Stroman. Why?
Kevin Myers says the last time they passed the massive bond to build east and west was because the old school was a maintenance nightmare.
Right. Well,
and still using it.
They're still using it. I wonder what they need to do. I think that it's going to come back. I think that the banter, the the verbal jockeying that will take place over a bond issue for VISD now, at some point, is going to address the tax grab post Harvey. The fact that VISD just grabbed 11 cents from all of us simply because they could, and because had they not done it then, they could never do it again. You remember that?
Yeah,
that was their
I think
excuse.
that's going to hurt them. And that was, I think, in the transition of Quentin Shepard.
Yes.
Right?
Tammy Keeling said, well, we've got to do it now, because if we don't do it now, we lose the opportunity to do it. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't make it the right thing to do. I've got to grab her boob because she's asleep in the back of my car. That doesn't make it the right thing to do just because the opportunity may not be there tomorrow. Analogy man comes in hot. It's a decent analogy.
One was illegal, one wasn't, but close. The morals are probably on.
There you go. The morals are similar.
Terry Murray, good morning. Richard King says if they would bring up their standing in education, it might be a better, I'm assuming, a better sell. So I think that's the thing. The Amanda Smith King says VISD doesn't listen to anyone. And I think that's part of the issue. And I had 2 kids go through VISD, both with different experiences, and fought like tooth and nails with VISD on behalf of one kid because they absolutely did not want to do what they were legally supposed to do.
Right.
And
which was before Dr. Shepard.
Yeah, it was.
We're not blaming anybody.
No, this was a long time ago. But I think there is a perception that we're not producing or getting the best bang for the bucks that we're already giving them.
I agree. And look, I say all of this to tell you that's my knee-jerk, emotion-laced reaction. And that is why I reached out to Dr. Shepard and Dr. Bonewall, 2 men I have the utmost of respect for. I mean that. They're both fantastic gentlemen, and I'm not joking at all when I tell you, if Quentin Shepard is in the room, I'm looking around to see who the smartest guy is other than Quentin Shepard. He's the smartest man in the room. He's got empathy. I think he's a fine gentleman. I really have confidence in him. But make no mistake, much as our buddy Lenny out at the airport shamelessly does what is best for the airport with no regard for burning down anything else around him, Dr. Shepard shamelessly does whatever he can for VISD. And in this case, it involves $156 million of your dollars. Good morning, Norm Burgess. Joe Mitchell says, careful, they'll cancel me. No, I don't know that we've even really espoused an opinion other than I want to come back.
These are facts that there was 11 cents tax grab. The last bond we were in favor of, and it didn't pass. And the economic times right now, with all the uncertainty, timing seems suspect.
And I'll tell you that I say all of that in preface to my meeting with Dr. Shepard and Dr. Bonewall, because I literally said, I want to be a proponent, but I need you to explain to me why this is a good idea and these are the right financial decisions at this time. So I will report back to you dutifully. Know that I'm going into it. Skeptical is not the right word, but with both eyes open, having once been burned by the district, not by these 2 individuals, but by the district. I'll tell you that the best thing that came out of the last bond issue was a lasting friendship forged through the fire of disagreement with Cody Sugar. I consider Cody a dear friend, and we were on opposite sides of this to the point that we followed each other around to meetings and formed opinions. And I want you to know that Cody is a dear, dear friend. So through disagreement came mutual respect. Through mutual respect came understanding. And he and I are on the same side, I believe, of this issue now. So
you can be on great sides of the same issue. You can be on opposite sides of the same issue at Veracruz today.
There you go.
That issue being a big bowl with caldo.
Or you just get cheese enchiladas or a taco salad. At any rate, as foreplay, you could have chips, the best hot sauce on the planet, period.
Get a side of guacamole.
Queso, guacamole. It's so creamy. It's so good.
But it is called a Wednesday. I always encourage you to get in there take an early lunch on Wednesday if you want to ensure that you will receive the caldo, because they don't make. I mean, when they run out, they run out. It's not like an endless pot that they can just go back and open a package of some instant soup mix.
It's not bouillon.
Throw it in there, and here you go.
Kevin Myers, we need data. Thought it was ball bearings. We need data. What is the cost per square foot of present maintenance? What is the projected cost after new construction or remodeling? What were the promises made last time? Were they kept?
All good questions, and I'm. Kevin has a background in building maintenance, so I'm not sure that the public will ask those questions, but I think the promises made and promises kept question will certainly be asked by many.
Right. BJ Nelson says, I can get a good advocate for VISD to come give details.
Oh, I think we'll get Quinton Shepard on the show.
Yeah, and I've got friends that are on the task force, and make no mistake now, these task forces, they're not think tanks. They're propaganda arms, and that's fine. I mean, but let's call it what it is. They have a task force, and like, for example, we were never asked. I was on one. I was on the one that decided to close down FW Gross and Wood High and Guadalupe, and I was the one that actually gave the speech at the school board meeting.
Sucker.
Yeah, got sucked into that. Another reason I didn't get elected mayor. You're closing down our schools. No, they're closing down your schools. I just made it a succinct statement to the school board. But at the end of the day, I don't know. We got to figure out how we figure out if a task force is designed to be. It's a rationalization. It was a justification force, is what it was. The question was never, should we shut down schools in an effort to stem the cost of maintenance or provide a better education? It was, if you had to close down 3 schools,
would they be Wood High, FW Gross, and Guadalupe?
And if they are, what would you want to know in order to justify closing them down? And we started with that premise. Well, I'd want to know, how old are they? How much would it cost to repair them? Does it make sense to repair them? How many kids are involved? Do we have the buses to move those kids? And those are the questions that we answered. From the beginning, from day one, we were providing a rationalization on the task force to close down those schools. That is what VISD had already decided they were going to do. They used 150 of us, egos intact, to help rationalize the decision. I think it works beautifully. I use it in business. If you were going to move your insurance to me, what would you want to know to have that decision make sense to you? Would you like to know the size of my agency? Would you like to know the carriers I represent? Okay, I'll tell you those things. And the next thing you know, I have the business. It's a great tactic.
Just wait another month or so, and the new administration will drop tons of money on our schools. But another point brought up earlier was the cost of building materials right now. Is this $156 million bond? Are we? And I know costs change. When things change, bonds can't always deliver what they say they're going to deliver because inflation and costs go up.
Right.
But when you're seeing, and I'm just going to use one example that I know of. And it's a sheet of wood. I'm not going to get into specifics. It's gone from $10 last spring to over $30 a sheet this spring, or this fall, winter. If building material, and I know the cost of steel is going up because I've talked with Elton Calhoun, and the cost of steel is going through the roof.
Poor Elton.
Well, I mean, it's on all. I mean, you can't get it for cheap, so you can't sell it for cheap.
Right.
But I mean, and just talking to home builders, windows, doors, building materials, all going up. So you float this out there now. If building materials keep going the way they're going, that $156 million is not going to get us $156 million.
No, it might be like 120.
And I know there's always, a few million in there because of costs and, it's a snapshot in time, right?
Like 19 million of this, by the way, here's your hedge. Like 19 million of this bond is to rebuild the playgrounds at the elementary schools. So there you go. There's a $19 million buffer that, we'll get around to those playgrounds later. That's what that is. It's a built-in buffer.
Brad Miner asked how much pork fat is involved in that 156. There you go, 19 million.
Well, there's people working backwards as well, and I've already got an email from Dale Zook that I read that basically says that the district's not being totally upfront. Did you get that email as well?
No.
The district's not being totally upfront about the calls because some of it is, it's already sitting there. I will have to look at it together.
Bobby Leister asked why are building materials going up so much, and part of the reason that I understand from people in the industry is when governments, state governments, provincial governments, and other country governments shut things down or severely restricted the number of people that could be on a job site, in a factory. Basically, production, and for some people that I know that are in the building materials manufacturing industry, they were reduced to about 1/3 of their manufacturing capacity in COVID. They could only basically run one shift instead of 3 shifts a day. So they just weren't able, but demand hadn't slowed down. So, as Chris Conrad says, supply.
Let's slide to the right. So I just don't have any cable.
And I don't have any cable here.
I'm hamstrung over here. Well, since my baby left me.
So, BJ Nelson's Mission Valley doesn't want to rebuild from what she's heard.
There you go.
I just think the timing.
BJ Nelson, roving reporter.
I just think the timing right now is suspect.
Found a new place to put.
Break time. I did the Veracruz break.
Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Reach out to Allen's if your car won't go. Folks, if you need a tow in this town, we joke about it. It's easy to do. Nobody likes to talk about getting a tow. But if you need help getting from point A to point B, if your car won't go, reach out to Allen's Wrecker Service. It's that simple. Best in the business, no matter what you've got, whether you've got an 18-wheeler on the side of the road turned up on its side, or you've got a Suburban that needs to get to Atzenoffer. They're just the best in the business, the best there is. They've got all the equipment. Went out the other day. They have an $800,000 75-ton crane. There's nobody else in the region. You've got to go to parts of Houston to find anything close. They get called all over this region, all the way down to the valley, which is why Allen now has a depot in Refugio. Reach out to the VCS companies for all your security needs, all your surveillance needs. If you need fire suppression at a new restaurant, reach out to the VCS companies. They went out and performed for Ash, put a HomeLink gate at his home. The 2-4 Ranch now, you drive up, you push a button, you go right in. I push a button, the door, it just goes, it looks like something out of Iron Man. It just locks down. I can't get in.
Can't get in.
It's the way it is.
It's only you.
The cows look skittish. The sheep run. Razor IT Solutions. I talked to JP Hull yesterday. I talked to JP yesterday. He said, hey, we are so busy. He goes, my big clients are anxious. There's lots going on globally. A lot of chatter on the internet. A lot of data being compromised.
It's only going to ramp up.
Reach out. Joe Biden sells your data. Be aware of that. He'll sell your data to the Chinese. Reach out to Razor IT Solutions.
Don't be saying stuff like that. They're going to kick us off Facebook.
China. And then, of course, Chesnick Furniture Company, 100 years in downtown Victoria. Bobby Leon and his family just simply provide a level of service that Victorians have come to love and trust. You simply do better at Chesnick.
Ribbon cutting last week to celebrate their 100th anniversary as they head into their 101st year.
We've been saying it all year. Chesnick and Love, make your house a home. That's the Wade and Carter motto. Reach out to those folks. So George Springer going to Toronto, leaving the Astros.
6 years, 125 million, I think is the number I heard. Toronto, a team on the Toronto reminds me of the Astros.
150.
Was it 150?
Yeah, 25 million a year.
Now I got to check my sources. I know Simpy and Houghton are probably happy.
What do you think
I
about
like the Jays back in the day.
We're going to like the Jays. Team. Joe Carter, walk-off home run. Yep. First thing that comes to mind for me. First thing that comes to mind, Joe Carter, walk-off homer, Game 7, World Series. Wins it all. Great guy, champion. I guess he was MVP that year for that.
Yeah, 25 million a year, 6 years, 150 million. 31-year-old outfielder.
By the way, seems very doable to me. Somewhat surprised the Astros didn't pony that up because there are huge taxes in Canada. Probably could have gotten him for 22 and a half, something like that.
He's paid in U.S. dollars.
But which
helps.
He probably still has a home in Houston.
Well, he went to the University of Connecticut. I don't know if he's from that area originally. Played his college ball there.
I think he was from UConn.
You know, he's up that way. Gets a little closer to home. Maybe he missed the winters. I don't know.
Right.
But, I mean, if you think about it from a marketing perspective, Canada's going to embrace the Jays. They always have. He's got an entire country that he could go and face a national product in Canada and probably make good money.
They have anybody else now that the national?
No, they got Vlad Guerrero Jr. They got Dante Bichette's kid.
Is there another Canadian team?
No, that's it. It's just the Blue Jays.
The Saskatchewan Rough Riders. That's football, right?
That's football, yeah.
Rough Riders.
But Simpy doesn't like their GM. He's making some good moves. Made the playoffs. Toronto's a team on the rise. I think and I'll be honest, as an Astros fan, I'm not sure the Astros win those. They've been to an LCS, World Series 3 out of 4, right?
Yep. You think it's close?
They won one. I think they're on the downward slide of that now.
You're such a naysayer. If that's the way you feel, how do you feel about the Rockets?
I don't care about the NBA.
I don't care about the NBA either. And yet I read Brian McTaggart is a writer, sports writer, and he wrote, man, Houston must really be reeling. They lose George Springer and James Harden in the same month. And I'm like, that's like comparing a frontline perennial all-star great player and a spare. James Harden, George Springer wins the World Series.
Wins the World Series MVP.
James Harden never goes to the NBA Finals. James Harden is a slop-time point-scoring machine when it doesn't matter. He will not – there's not enough basketballs. If he's playing with Kevin Durant, there's not enough balls. Where did he go? Did he go with Durant? Yeah,
the Nets.
They're going to be terrible. All you're doing now is you're going to have every year – you're going to have 2 or 3 all-star teams. You're going to have we're putting together a team to beat the Lakers. And then that's it. That's all Brooklyn's trying to do.
And it's going to get worse for Houston sports fans because the Texans are fixing to lose Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Houston is in shambles. They need Mattress Mac to team up with what's the guy that's the chairman of the board at U of H?
Tillman Fertitta.
They need to team up together and just take over Houston sports. Jeff Fonseca says, anybody going to watch the inauguration? Folks, we're heading for tough times.
Here's the final thought on the Astros. I don't think the Astros are done. I think they can still be a solid playoff team and maybe a contender if everything goes right. I don't know that they have all the pieces to be as solid a favorite to win the AL and compete for the World Series as they have the last 5 years.
So there's our marketing idea. We need a T-shirt in Astros orange and in blue letters across the front. It should say, Stella, I could have been a contender.
There you go.
There you go. Timeless Marlon Brando reference.
Nobody's going to watch the inauguration.
Yeah.
Lots of flags. Interest, just a few things.
Democratic Party flag?
No, lots of American flags.
Oh, yeah.
From pictures that I saw early this morning.
Super.
From a party that
Rainbow
did everything it could the last 4 years to tear apart this country.
Yeah. Then they're all going to burn the flags at the end of the inauguration because that's all about free speech.
they started screening the National Guard troops and kicked out 100 or so yesterday
because they voted for Trump. But we're all about.
Well, they didn't tell you that. They're basically said their ideology and their maybe some social media posts made them question their dedication to today's mission.
Right. So there you go.
So basically, they
question their character.
Yeah. So basically, they found the obvious Trump supporters in the National Guard and kicked them out. Remember, this is also the party, and you can go down through the ranks because it may not have been nationally, but they didn't want the National Guard in Washington, D.C. when there were riots and fires in the summer. They didn't want the National Guard in Seattle and Portland. And interesting, out of Seattle, a whole bunch of text messages got released by public information request up there that shows that the city and that moron who was leading the Chaz, the guy that was handing out ARs out of his Tesla and orchestrating break-ins to police buildings throughout that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, city officials and him were working on the backside to negotiate less violence. They were telling him, hey, if you can just slow down these guys from burning things down, we might have some concessions for you.
You see where Scott Tomko says that Trump is taking Air Force One to Florida today, and he has the football. He's got the nuclear launch codes with him. Interesting. Clayton Meyer says that the Astros have some question marks at pitching.
Lineup, yeah.
They're going to be fine. Pitching's going to be really strong. Guys you didn't count on.
They're going to be
Urquidy and those guys. They're all.
They're going to be fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know that they're going to be 106, 110 game winners and a front runner for the World Series anymore.
I'll take 103.
I mean, you're losing the last full year, 40 home runs out of Springer.
And they've got to sign Michael Brantley if they're going to continue to matter.
Well, they can't afford to lose both. The only downside a little bit with Brantley is his age.
Right.
Can he keep producing?
I think so. He came here as a 296 hitter, and every year he's been here, his average has gone up.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing with Springer going to Toronto, though. If
you got to work on that. It's Toronto.
They want his back.
Toronto.
They want his bat, not his back.
Toronto.
It's Toronto.
Right. Folks, he's not even Canadian. He's just not even, doesn't even hide it. Now that Joe Biden's in office, he's just out. He's been outed. It's a Russian.
But I still call it the Sky Dome, Rogers Dome, whatever it's called nowadays. I don't even know. It is not the easiest place to play on your body.
Yeah, AstroTurf is hard.
And it's a cement pad under there.
Yeah, it's difficult.
The pitching mound rises and lowers because they used to use it for football. I don't know that it still does. It's probably
Argonauts.
Argonauts used to play there. But, I mean, when Andre Dawson left Montreal, the biggest, he was happy to get out of there because he was out of the Big O, right?
Right.
George Springer, at 31 years old, if he's playing in center field regularly, if they don't move him to the corners to try to save his knees and his body, he's going to be done. And I wouldn't give him that much.
Peter McNally says, got to watch the ceremonies today. Party time. Oh, Pete. I think it's a parody account. I think Pete's like a closet Republican, and it's a parody account. Pete, I could see, if I put on my mono glasses, I could see someone really happy that Donald Trump is out of office. Doesn't offend me. I don't even judge that person. But I can't see anybody excited. Anybody, certainly of your intellectual level, excited about a Biden-Harris administration.
When you look at John Kerry's back in this administration,
and he's
climate czar. I mean, come on. The
retread. Where's the youth? Where are the millennials? Where are the bright ideas? These are old swamp rats. There's nothing new here.
And I'm disappointed in Donald Trump on his way out the door. I haven't seen the full list of pardons, but you're not going to be able to hammer him on the number of people he pardoned because his pardon list is so much lower than any other president in a 4-year span.
It's shorter than most.
I think he pardoned off.
Oh yeah, Obama did honestly, folks, one a day.
I think 143 got pardoned today is the number I heard. I haven't seen the list, so I can't weigh in on it. But one thing I did see that he did was rescind the executive order that he got a lot of credit for in 2017 that was supposed to start draining the swamp. So basically, once you were out of a government position, whether elected or not, you could not lobby for 5 years post your departure from the federal government.
Right.
Well, he tore that executive order up today.
So now his kids can lobby starting next week.
Mike Pompeo, I see this as a payback to Mike Pompeo, because I think if there was any one individual in the Trump administration that I think did absolutely, we're talking George Springer type work, I think it was Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State. So,
Richard King says, are they going to allow cars on the White House lawn so people can honk at the inauguration? If they did, those cars would come from Atzenhofer. Since 1926, nothing screams vehicular like the Atzenhofer dealership. Currently, new cars include Cadillac, Chevy, Mitsubishi, Mazda for the Canadians. They service all makes and models. They paint everything. It's like your car's green. Nope. Now it's white. They'll paint it. They'll inspect it. Help you deal with the tax man. Get by the Atzenhofer dealership. Go to Atzenhofer.com. You can rank the cars. You can say, I want to see only certified pre-owned with less than 10,000 miles. And they'll come up. I want to see all pre-owned vehicles with less than 50,000 miles arranged by price. And they'll come up. It's a beautiful, beautiful website.
High to low, low to high.
Very well done. White Trash Services, reach out to those folks. 550-1826. If you reach out to BJ Nelson.
And you're going to talk to somebody to begin with.
Well, beautiful. You don't get that.
Push one now.
If you have rubbish, press one now. You don't get that. BJ Nelson, her crew will answer the phone. They're wonderful folks. You have to get by the gatekeeper. They're wonderful folks. 550-1826. In the 6-county region, Holiday Beach, Rockport, they'll help you out. Razor, we've already talked about. Uncle Mutt's Barbecue.
Get by there today for the daily special.
Brisket, ribs, sausage, turkey, chicken.
They've got all the 5 major barbecue food groups.
Absolutely. Plus, they've got cabbage and pinto beans for people like Ash. Tough constitutions. They have pea salad for guys like me. Get by there and enjoy Uncle Mutt's today. And while we've got you, we're going to have Bill Posey come in a minute. While we've got you here, reach out to the Gray Barn for your next party, 920-6803. 920-6803.
Cheryl will make it look absolutely spectacular.
Tell her your vision for your party and then get out of the way.
Yeah, she'll make
Show up and have a good time at your party. Went Services. Look, there's boxes here. There's junction boxes, all kinds of stuff. We need to get Went Services over here to our kitchen remodel at Magic. By the way, if you are driving, try us out at Magic 95.9, the signal.
Let us know how far we go today.
T-Lat told me she had the signal, no problem, in Inez yesterday, dropping off the boys at school. It used to be,
you could get us to the airport.
Yeah. So that's incredible. Good for her. Be safe, T-Lat, on the roads. Wind Services, they'll put solar panels on the roof, a backup generator behind the house, new plugs in the barn, whatever you need. They're an electrical contractor. But let me tell you, they are state-of-the-art with the battery backup for the solar panels. Reach out to Went. And then while you're at it, go ahead and coat that concrete floor. Polyurethane, tough as nails.
4 times stronger than an epoxy finish.
Absolutely. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, easy to clean, won't fade, won't chip, won't stick to your tires. They'll come in, they'll seal the cracks in your garage floor, sand it all down, clean it all up, and then put a coat down that'll make you proud. I've seen their work. They do it on patios, porches, pool decks. Phenomenal product, phenomenal. 578 home. And by the way, that's a free quote. So we're done. Sponsors are good. Sponsors are happy. We're bringing on some new sponsors in the next couple of weeks. Very excited about that. We're going to talk to you about mortgage lending.
Yep.
We're going to talk to you soon about the legal profession. Very excited about that. Seems like Victoria has been very supportive about this. Peter McNally says nothing new. A woman VP, a gay secretary. It'll be exciting to watch. Unity will return. It's going to be divisive to the max. And by the way, what does it matter if that secretary's gay? Why does that have to even be in there? Why do we have to know if that secretary identifies as a man or a woman? Does it matter if that secretary
can they do the job?
Can they do the job? I don't care if they wear rainbow panties under their suit. That's the whole deal. The Democrats point out all the divisiveness while they chirp about unity. I didn't know that person was gay and couldn't care less. Can they do the job? So interesting to me that it's pointed out. Oh, look, we don't ever want to talk about gender. Let's take gender out of all of our laws. Ha, ha, ha. We got a woman VP and we got a transvestite dude as a secretary. So wait a minute, whatever. But it's like, it's so hypocritical. It's like we don't want to talk about people's gender. Let's take
But we're going to point it out any chance we get.
But look, we're better than you because we got a gay guy. What if I told you Ash had a gay guy? Stop it.
Stands beside me every morning.
Stop it. It's just skin. Can do whatever I want.
Mike Lindell being banned from Kohl's.
Boy, Kohl's just banned me.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
I've never banned Kohl's because some of their designers are gay. I've never said, oh, did you know that so-and-so is gay? Oh, I'll never shop at Dillard's again because they have a gay representative in there. So now all of a sudden Mike Lindell happens to be a patriot, happens to be pro-Donald Trump. That's it. His pillows suck.
They said they cited declining sales, and I'm like, I doubt it because I know a lot of people.
The guy sold 1 million pillows yesterday. I saw it on the internet. It's got to be true.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people that got my pillows for Christmas. So you can't tell me sales were lagging.
I want to tell you something. I'm looking at our dear friend, somebody that we think the world of, Bill Posey. Bill Posey, not only did I could tell you all about Bill Posey, but I won't. I think he was in Vietnam before anybody knew we were there. That's all a side issue. If it's safe to say that in this room, when Bill Posey walks into a room, he looks around and says, which one would I shoot first? In this room, that would be me. He would he would shoot me and try to salvage Ash.
Because he knows I'd have that shirt over his head in no time.
He would shoot me and seek to get Ash's attention. Do I have your attention now? Which, by the way, is not a bad tactic, especially if there's an interrogation going on. But we get Bill Posey laughing.
You just wither and die in the corner, wetting your pants.
He shot me. He really shot me. Bill gets to laughing because we bounce around like a Super Bowl, and he comes from a very structured environment where if people don't do what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, people die. And fortunately, radio is not a death sentence. But Bill, we've had an idea. We're going to offer a sponsorship to haters of the Wade and Carter program. That way they can be a part of the program and say, hey, I've got a voice on that show because I'm a sponsor.
You can make a lot of money.
We're thinking like $10 a head, get them to start. And then we're going to give the money like to Trish or somebody at Christ Kitchen. We're going to donate that money.
Bob Wally says you get a free can of Goya beans with every MyPillow sold.
Right? And, hey, Goya stepped up to support the president. Their sales went through the roof. Did you know that President Trump, I think I mentioned this yesterday to you, but not on the air, when George W. Bush left office, his approval rating was less than 30. Donald Trump's approval rating is above 40% as he leaves office. And I'm just going to tell you, if he found some way to stay today, I'd support him. I would use the rationalization required to say, hey, I'm glad you're staying. He never bragged about his openly gay administration people that he had, and he had them. He didn't brag about them. They weren't bragging points for him. Look how diverse we are. Hello. He didn't do that. He just had them do the job. They were there on the front lines in a nice tricot mesh something soothing underneath their garments.
Iran comes out yesterday and says they're only enriching uranium for medical purposes.
Oh, no, it's medical.
And I did a little bit of internet sleuthing this morning. There are very few, if any, that I could find of medical purposes for enriched uranium.
Can you make that something we can read? I'm just curious as to where it came from. Johnny Houghton, a top fan, a great listener. Johnny Houghton says it's all about gender. This is a portion of a mandate letter to the Minister of National Defense in Canada. Ensure that women, LGBTQ2, Indigenous, Black, and racialized veterans and veterans with disabilities who are transitioning out of the Canadian Armed Forces. I mean, I thought a veteran was a veteran was a veteran. No, you have a different label if you've been racialized or have a disadvantage or you like to wear women's clothes, whatever, but you're different.
But that's where we are in the world.
And that's wrong.
It's no longer, you can't be proud to be an American. You can't be proud to be a Canadian. You have to only be proud to be in the little box that you check yourself off into. And that's why we have the division, not only in this country, but in pretty much every country in the world.
Well, what if somebody just said America, oh, wait, America first? That's what Trump did. He just said, we're Americans first. Teddy Roosevelt said, come here, have some money, have a job, and assimilate. Don't come here and look for that last teat because this cow is full up. Come here and contribute. Come here and make a difference. This is varsity. This is not the minor leagues. America is the big leagues. Come here ready to contribute or go to Guatemala and hang out and make hats. Go make hats. I don't care what you do.
Zach Smith says, great speech by President Trump. Have you ever seen, if you want any more proof that there is an absolute, the Russians didn't collude on any election. That was big tech in the media. If you want the collusion to throw elections, they almost pulled it off in 2016. They managed to do it in 2020.
Yeah.
Has the media ever basically ignored an exiting president on any of their speeches when they're leaving office, like they have Donald Trump?
Oh, and
serious question.
And no, it was not on any of the major networks, and it was a beautiful speech. He went through all the things. Man, love him or hate him, and that's fine if you hate him. A lot got done in 4 years. A lot. I mean, Sleepy, I don't know what Joe's going to do, really. Joe Biden's not going to do anything, folks, except raise your taxes. By the way, effective January 26th, show me your papers, comrade. Show me your papers, comrade. Effective January 26th, if you travel outside the United States, you've got to come back with a negative COVID test, papers documenting that you had a negative COVID test to come back. How about that? I need your papers. Papers, please. There you have it. Welcome to Mother Russia.
And we're going to trust the Chinese government to give you an accurate test.
They can screw you over just like that. Just like that. Oh, here comes a guy. Looks like a Republican, white guy. Probably has a job. Yeah, that's a Republican.
How can you legally keep citizens out of this country?
Just by now. If you don't have the paper. Now, they didn't say that you couldn't. Well, they're not going to let you on the plane. But say you get back, then they're going to quarantine you. They're keeping them cages where they used to only keep kids. They're going to keep you in those cages now. That'll change.
Remember how quickly that disappeared? Well, I don't know what
you know why? Because Joe Biden's going to use those exact same pins to hold people. Because Obama built them. They act like Donald Trump went down there and had Jimmy Carter, Habitat for Humanity, and built a bunch of chain link fences. That's not what happened. Barack Obama built those fences. They forgot that. It's convenient to forget that. Barack Obama, day one, I'm closing Gitmo. There's people that have been there since the Cold War, man. They didn't close Gitmo. They expanded it.
They didn't close Gitmo. Gitmo closed them.
Right. But Americans just fall for it. Barack Obama, it's tragedy. People, hell. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I will close Gitmo. Thanks for playing. Got in there. Didn't do it.
Out of Afghanistan.
He did not do what he said he was going to do. One thing about Donald Trump, if I'd been his advisor, I might have worked with him a little bit on some of those promises regarding that wall. But other than that, the dude did everything he said he was going to do. And he did build 450 miles of wall.
That's not much in 4 years. I'm not going to lie.
No, but he had to fight 2 impeachments along the way. There was a lot going on in his world. Melania,
but
trying to keep her happy, that's a full-time gig.
Yeah, apparently wore black leaving the White House today.
She wore black?
So I've seen. But what's going to happen? Because we haven't heard anything of migrant caravans coming up through Central America and Mexico into the U.S. in the last couple of years. Really.
Yeah, now they are.
So what's going to happen when they get to the border?
What's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, how's the media going to treat this when you have a bunch of illegal immigrants getting to the border? How are they going to sugarcoat that? If it was a crisis when Donald Trump was in charge,
I think
because the policies were still in place.
Thanks, Peter. Peter says I'm going ballistic. I'm really not. I'm just spewing truth. I mean, I'll take any criticism anybody has of what I've just told you.
Are you quitting?
No, I just don't. I can hear you. I'm standing right here, and my cord's not long enough. So Don will tell you my cord's just simply not long enough. I think you're going to see a kinder, gentler border experience. They will bring them in. I think they will let them come into the country, feed them, give them all blankets, and then probably leave a gate open and let them just sneak on through the border. That's what I think will happen. I think you're going to see upwards of 30 million currently illegal aliens granted citizenship.
How do you even judge that number?
There's
They're
no
here
way.
illegally. Nobody's out there going, I'm one.
Right, they will when you give them that.
And let's be honest.
Card.
We had 18 million. I think Americans that able-bodied Americans that should have worked weren't.
Right.
But prior to COVID, we had more jobs than I believe we could fill. Or we had more jobs, where we had fewer jobs. We had more people looking for jobs than there were jobs to fill.
Correct. Well, I mean, I'll be curious
jobs
to see
is the issue.
No, Biden's got a built-in excuse. He can't fix the economy because of COVID, and it's not his fault.
He'll get credit for curing
because
COVID.
we have to do more. We have to do more for people. So we're going to raise our taxes, and those of guys like me and you are going to pay more. Retired guys like Bill Posey, they're fine.
But Reagan, if there was one issue in his presidency was the amnesty that he gave to illegal immigrants. It didn't fix the problem. And it's not going to fix the problem this time. If you believe the BS that they're just taking jobs that Americans don't want to do, which is bullcrap.
Right. For $15 an hour, a lot of people want to do those jobs.
Then you know what? Then let's find a way to give them temporary, or if they're professionals, a green card or a certain period of time of work authorization. Citizenship does not have to be part of this equation.
I agree.
At all.
And the ability to vote doesn't have to be a part of this equation. There's our friend, and did you turn his mic on?
Not yet.
I want to introduce, everybody knows, Bill Posey. Bill Posey does the half hour of excitement, the Wake Up Victoria program before us.
The warm-up for waiting card.
The warm-up. He is the logical, rational individual who's actually been there and done that. And look, you're the first person that we've been able to showcase our
Adam Ritchie
beautiful
says he
view,
does those jobs for a living.
right? And we're looking out across kind of south and west across Victoria right here with our buddy Bill Posey. Bill, you look amazing on here. How are you feeling, sir? Welcome back.
Oh, really good. I'm really excited about the inauguration today. I'm going to go be glued to my television because I won't be able to get enough of that.
I'm certain.
I can only imagine. I can't tell that the sarcasm is dripping or not.
Sarcasm is the most simple form of humor, but it does work. It is applicable. Tell us about your comeback. Elvis had the '68 comeback special, and you were there, and now
Providing security detail.
providing security.
It was an off weekend and from Vietnam. He got his leave papers.
He was keeping an eye on Scylla. Somebody had to watch Scylla. Tell us about what's going on and what your plans are for the upcoming show.
I'm really looking forward to coming back on Tuesday, and we're going to always have every morning a guest, and so we're going to pursue it that way until I can find some unlikely soul that want to co-host. You know what that's like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ash is really still interviewing
looking
for a co-host. Yes.
You go down there to Guadalajara and look at the dumpster area and see if you can pull something down.
Sure. Come on down. Like
Yeah.
me, see.
Yeah, no problem. Like Elvis in '68, who gained a few pounds in '68, right?
Right.
I have too, so I feel that I'm going to be very successful.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're well. We monitored you.
68, he looked pretty good in the leather. I think it was 72 when he put the jumpsuit on.
More like
with the
70.
sequins.
When 75
then-
was when it all went downhill.
Then things went down.
When Dr. Feelgood, the guy with the black bag, started saying, well, here, take 3 of these to wake up, take 2 of these to go to sleep. I feel sometimes like Joe Buck, alongside the Hall of Famer. I'm Joe Buck. Speaking of Hall of Famer, we have Ralph Salazar coming in a minute with brother Gary Moses.
Boys.
Yeah. So look at that. Gary's so sharp. He cuts himself. It's unbelievable. What do you want to cover? What do you think you're going to start covering?
Politics, obviously, and local politics, and try to push the agenda for people to run for public office. We have the school board and the city elections coming up. So I'm going to
Is that this May?
on Tuesday. Yes, sir. But the filing period ends February 12th.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about that, and then obviously the Biden administration, 100 days. That should be really interesting to see what he's going to do. Unlike the Republicans, who are hand wringers and can't do anything, I think it's going to be a very dynamic, not necessarily good, time for America because they'll push through their agenda.
Well, they had the House
absolutely.
and the Senate, and the Republicans couldn't get over themselves when they had control of all 3 chambers early in President
We
Trump's.
got guys like Romney and Liz Cheney and our federal
Mitch McConnell.
our federal senator. They can't get off the dime.
Right.
I mean, we have to primary out this next time, get rid of all the trash, and get real Republicans, real conservatives.
Somewhere right now, a staffer for Joe Biden is saying, give me a list of everything Donald Trump did. How much of it can we overturn with executive order?
Yes.
And I don't know why.
Well, and
They're
Donald
gonna
Trump
do that.
did him a favor already by rescinding his executive order on the lobbying that he executive order
Yeah,
into
tell Bill
existence
about
in
that.
5 years. Or in 2017, he banned any federal employee or elected official from lobbying for 5 years. He tore that one up this morning on his way out the door.
But I mean, is it not? They all go to the same cocktail parties. They all go to the same schools. They marry the same people. I mean, we have to get rid of those folks. What's wrong with the center of the country? I think you guys, 2 guys, are as brilliant as anybody in Washington, D.C.
They're not ready for us.
I can't run for president, so I
That's
wasn't
okay.
born
You
here.
can be a representative. You can be a senator. I think you'd make a much better senator than the guy we got there.
Bill, tell the truth. I couldn't get elected mayor. They won't elect me.
It was just an anomaly.
They won't
I'm
elect
sure the next
me.
time you run,
I will
especially the school
never
board,
run. I will never run for school board. You know why? Because I make too much sense. I'm like 156. What? 156 $1 million? Are you kidding me?
that's going to be a very interesting.
I'd go. I think VISD needs to pave airline. That's what I think VISD needs to do, so those kids can get to school on the bus without going over any bumps.
It's amazing how many people don't understand
how much money that is.
Whose role is what in this city, county. I mean, VISD gets blamed for things that the city is in charge of. The city gets blamed for things that VISD is in charge of. I mean, the lack of understanding that should be just a basic elementary level is mind-blowing.
People aren't involved in politics. People are involved in opinions. They want to, oh, well, I don't like him. He's a insert stereotype. He's a liberal. He's a conservative. I mean, I don't always agree with Emmett Alvarez on politics, and yet Emmett is a fairly conservative guy. You take the time to listen to Emmett Alvarez, you'll go, wow, did he really say we shouldn't? I guarantee Emmett Alvarez is not behind this bond for $156 million.
And do you think it's going to go down?
I at this point would have to say I don't believe it will be confirmed. I don't think that this bond will pass.
I think the timing is suspect, to be honest.
If we go back to the 30s, since the 30s, what's the worst time? So many people out of work and so many. I mean, has there ever been bigger lines for the food bank?
No.
And we're going to bring in an additional tax, and that's real money. I mean, when you look at your tax bill, and you think,
it's all part of the Green New Deal.
It's 2-to-1 over the city. 2-to-1.
What's the biggest source of revenue on your tax bill every year? It's always VISD.
They always, and this is something that's done by design. They always float their bonds out in the off year because you got 3,000 employees. So you have the May election. They don't do it when everybody's going to vote for president. They do it on the deal when there's only going to be 5,000 people show up to vote. We got 3,000 employees, and we can get our employees to vote for it. We win.
But I think you'll see an energizing effect. I know a number of people who said they're going to contribute to that race, and I think we're going to get a lot more people this time than we have in the past.
James Kerr says, how do you change people's comfort level of voting for the incumbent 3, 4, 5 terms? Why do we do that to ourselves?
Why don't we demand term limits? Why don't we just as a people say, I'm not sending in a tax return until you fools determine a term limit?
And we complain about government waste and spending. Is there anything more appalling that a Georgia congressional representative race collectively, they spent $346 million on that race?
Yeah, it's crazy.
How much good could that money do? I mean, that to me needs to be addressed.
That $346 million
spending
could have solved a majority of the problems that guy's going to Washington to beg for money to solve.
That he'll never fix, or she'll never fix.
That's exactly right.
When you look at the 10 points that Biden is going to push in his first 100 days, it's a very ambitious schedule. I don't know if you saw it. They had an article out this morning, and I think
we were up before that article got.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I apologize. But one of the points is to legalize the folks that are in the country illegally, right? And they said they're 11 million. If there are 11 million unyoung and handsome,
there's 30 million.
I would be surprised if there's only 30 million.
I agree 100%.
You go to some places in the United States, I mean, it's wall-to-wall folks. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about folks from Mexico.
No, that's like Asians.
That's the interesting part. It's Russians. There's Canadians that are here illegally. As a legal immigrant, I couldn't work. I was offered jobs under the table, didn't take them, didn't want to risk deportation.
Absolutely.
And now I feel like I'm getting penalized for doing things legally and correctly because they're just giving it away now.
If you'd have taken that job and they'd have sent you back to Canada and we'd have kept Cheryl here, I mean, both countries would be better off. We'd have Cheryl. You'd be back in Canada.
The U.S. would be better off.
She'd be happier. I mean, it would have been if you weren't such a rule follower. Look, they're starting to encroach.
We better get out of here.
They're starting to come in now. Ralph's giving us the evil eye, like, y'all get out of here. I want my microphone.
He just told me to start moving my stuff.
Right? Hey, we love you guys. And folks, do stay tuned. The signal, Ralph, I got